In the beginning of the drama, we see our female lead who had come to an illegal fight club. She is very rich. At the same time, she sees a fighter named Yu Chen who is our male lead whom everyone is cheering. Yu Chen, don't leave him, make him eat dust. Then that girl says that 6 years ago he was going to take part in a boxing championship, but he was removed from the game for taking drugs and now he fights underground. Then a man says, Yuji, why have you come here? Yuji says, I want this guy. Saying this, she goes to the roof. Meanwhile, when Yu Chen wins the fight, he asks for his prize. Where's my bonus? Then that man says that the bonus will be given upstairs. Then Yu Chen comes up and says, I heard you will give me the bonus, so give me my money. As soon as he sees this girl, he gets shocked because he had met her 6 years ago, where in a dancing car, he was romancing with her. What a real rogue he is. Yuji says, how are you, Yu Chen? Yu Chen says, you used me 6 years ago and now you have come back to fix everything. Yuji says yes. On this, Yu Chen holds her face in anger and says, more than half a year has passed since you disappeared, so why have you come here now? Yuji says, will you become my contract husband? In return, I will give you 10 million. You only have to be my husband for 3 months. On this, Yu Chen says, I still haven't forgotten the old things, and you want to make me a contract husband? That will never happen. Saying this, he starts to leave from there. Then Yuji says, don't you need money for your mother's treatment? Hearing this, Yu Chen gets very irritated and says, you have found out so much about me. How dare you say all this? Yuji says, you can't scare me with these tricks. Yu Chen says, all right, then I will use another way. Saying this, he grabs her tightly and comes very close to her. Yuji says, okay, do whatever you want, but first make an agreement with me. Hearing this, Yu Chen gets shocked and says, what a crazy girl, and leaves her, saying, I have no interest in you or your money, so go and find someone else. Yuji says, why are you so shy to marry? Even in arranged marriages, people get married. Yu Chen says, are you out of your mind? Go and get your brain treated first. Saying this, he leaves from there. Yuji says, I heard that he can do anything for money. So what happened now? In the next scene, we see Yu Chen shaving. The guy doesn't even grow a beard. At that moment, Yuji comes there in a car, who had followed him here. Then Yu Chen quickly puts on clothes and comes to her, saying, don't you have peace that you came to my house? Just then, 2 twin kids come there calling Yuji mom mom. Yuji says, I told you both to stay in the car, so why did you come out? The kids say, we were worried about you. Yu Chen says, I am a very bad person. I will not throw your mom, but I will surely throw both of you into the sea so the fish can eat you. Yuji says, stop it now. Yu Chen says, you didn't tell me that your friends are also peanut. Yuji says, do you want to become their dad? On this, Yu Chen says, they are not my kids. And why would you buy a poor man like me for 10 million? Am I that special? Yuji says, you just have to be their dad for 3 months, then you can leave them if you want. But still, Yu Chen doesn't agree and says, go and find someone else. Saying this, he starts to leave. Yuji says, do you want to earn money all your life by doing illegal boxing even when you know you could die in it? Hearing this, Yu Chen gets angry and lifts Yuji up, puts her in her car, and says, mind your own business and don't show up here again. Saying this, he leaves. Meanwhile, her kids get worried and say, Mom, are you okay? Then Yuji looks at a poster in her son's hand that he had found there. Actually, that poster was hidden by Yu Chen's sick mother, saying that she wanted a girl for Yu Chen's marriage. Seeing this, Yuji gets a devilish idea. In the next scene, we see her announcing on a mic, I came here after seeing an ad about a guy named Yu Chen, 28 years old, who is a fisherman and needs a girl for marriage. When Yu Chen hears this, he gets very angry and comes to Yuji, saying, you came here too. Get lost from here. Then the village people say, Yu Chen, what is going on? You and Ning are childhood friends, so you should marry her. Then Ning also comes there and says, do you like her? Then a lady says, where are you and where this mother of 2 kids? Yu Chen can never marry her. Throw this outsider out. Saying this, everyone starts shouting, throw her out of here. Then Yu Chen tells everyone to stay quiet. Then he says to Yuji, I will marry, but not you. Even if you give me 10 million or 100 million, I will not become the father of these illegitimate children. Hearing this, Yuji slaps him hard and says, my kids have names too, so watch your tongue before you speak. After that, we see her coming back with her kids, looking very sad because now she has fought with Yu Chen. Then she remembers the doctor's words that her son has a serious disease called leukemia, for which they need his father. The doctors say that they need bone marrow so they can start his treatment. Then the kids tell her, Mom, don't be sad, we are with you. Just then, her son's nose starts bleeding. Seeing this, Yuji quickly brings him to the hospital. There she sees Yu Chen and wonders what he is doing there. Then she notices that Yu Chen's sick mother is admitted in the same hospital. She was telling Yu Chen, how long will you stay like this? Now you should get married. After hearing this, Yuji gets an idea. She goes straight to Yu Chen and starts sticking to him, saying, how are you, Yu Chen? Yu-chan's mother asks, who is this girl? Yuji says, I am Yu-chan's friend and I came to meet you. Yu-chan says, leave me and stop this drama. But Yuji holds his hand and says, you weren't reacting like this that night. Yu-chan says in shock, which night? Yuji says, the one when we were inside the car. Hearing this, Yu-chan's mother gets shocked. Meanwhile, Yu-chan, out of embarrassment, stuffs an apple into Yuji's mouth and takes her outside. But his mother feels very happy thinking that at least there is some girl in Yu-chan's life, which means he will marry soon. Outside, Yu-chan starts scolding Yuji. How dare you threaten me in front of my mom? Do you want to fight with me? Yuji says, your mother is sick, but still you are so selfish. Who will ever want to marry a man like you? You are not romantic, you have no money and not even a house. Even if someone marries you, will she live with you on the fishing boat? Saying this, she comes very close to him, which makes Yu-chan's heart beat right. Yuji says, I am the best option for you, and she takes out his phone and saves her number in it, saying, you have only 2 hours to give me your answer. Saying this, Yuji leaves. Now we see Yuji's friend who asks, how's he now? And what did Yu-chan say? Yuji says, he refused. Her friend says, why don't you tell him that these kids are his? He will not let his son die. Yuji says, after being thrown out of boxing, Yu-chan does illegal fights and lives like a thief in a village. That's why I don't want my kids to know that their dad is like this. When Yuji comes outside, she meets Ning, who starts scolding her, saying, stop following Yu-chan. I know women like you very well, who give birth to illegitimate kids and then trap people later. Hearing this, Yuji gets angry and goes to slap her, but Yu-chan comes in between and stops her. Yu-chan says, is your marriage offer still open? Yuji says yes. Hearing this, Ning gets very angry and says, Yu-chan, you can't marry her. I am your childhood friend. You can't leave me for her. But Yu-chan ignores her and starts taking Yuji away. Then Ning shouts, do you want to become the father of those illegitimate kids? Hearing this, Yuji goes to her, slaps her hard, and says, don't you dare call my kids that again, or next time it will be war. Saying this, she leaves with Yu-chan. Now Yu-chan brings her to his fishing boat and says, wear these clothes, we have to make a wedding license. Hearing this, Yuji remembers her friend Shin's word. Yu-chan is a cheater. What if he divorces you after marriage? Will you live with him your whole life? Thinking of this, Yuji becomes serious and says to Yu-chan, our marriage will be a temporary marriage. Yu-chan says, alright, and both of them sign a contract and go to a studio to take wedding photos together. Yuji looks happy, but Yu-chan looks annoyed. Now Yu-chan was not going to live with Yuji, so Yuji buys a house in Yu-chan's village. The villagers get surprised seeing Yuji, thinking Yu-chan's wife is so beautiful and rich. After arranging everything, Yuji calls Yu-chan and says, I bought a house in the village, so bring my kids here. Yu-chan brings both the kids, and there he sees villagers fighting with Yuji. Yu-chan says, what happened, auntie? That lady says, the money you kept for your mom's treatment, she used it to buy this expensive house. Yu-chan says, she bought the house with her own money. Hearing this, everyone gets shocked, wondering how she got so much money when she doesn't even work. That lady says, she must be involved with someone. I told you earlier not to marry her. This girl is not good. Then Yu-chan says, from today, she is my wife, so please treat her like a part of our family. Saying this, he asks everyone to leave. Then Yuji says to the villagers, my name is Yuji, and I handle business. It wasn't good for Yu-chan's mom to live on a boat, so I bought this house so she can stay here after coming from the hospital. So next time before blaming someone, think before you speak, or I will call the police. Hearing this, all the villagers run away. Now inside the house, Yu-chan starts putting medicine on Yuji's wounds that she got while fighting outside. Yuji says, I could have stayed in your boathouse, but because of my kids I had to buy a house. Yu-chan says, next time, don't go fighting outside like that. You have 2 small kids. You could get in trouble. Then she remembers her past where her parents told her to abort her child, but she didn't agree, so they threw her out of the house. Yuji says, in these 6 years, I have sacrificed a lot. So don't tell me what's right or wrong for my kid. Yu-chan says, you are right. Even if I know about your affairs, what will I do? Saying this, he leaves. Now in the night scene, we see Yuji taking her son Jian and daughter Huan to bait. She looked a bit drunk. At the same time, Yu-chan comes there and seeing them like that, he thinks in his mind, 6 years ago, he remembers meeting her then and think, these twins are 5 years old. Could they be my children? Then he slaps himself. What am I thinking? They can't be my kid. Just then he hears Yuji shouting, so he runs into the house. There he sees the shower pipe has broken. He says, what is this mess? You 2 kids, go change your clothes. Then he scolds Yuji. Don't shout for no reason. Yuji pulls him and says, what do you mean by that? Yu-chan says, you are completely wet. Are you trying to seduce me? Let me tell you, I have no interest in you. If you want me to look at you, next time wear a better dress. Yuji says, what do you mean? Do I look ugly? Later we see Yuji upset about something, and she starts drinking. Yu-chan sees her drinking and thinks that if she drinks so much, her health will get worse. So he comes to her. But Yuji, hearing the ugly comment, grabs him. She says, "Now tell me, how do I look?" Saying that, she, drunk, tries to kiss him. Yu-chan holds her and says, "You don't even know how to kiss properly." Hearing this, Yuji gets nervous and closes her eye, but Yu-chan leaves without kissing her. Yuji holds him and forces him to kiss her. "What's happening, brother? This girl is shameless." At that moment, old memories hit Yu-chan, the days when he used to romance with her. Remembering this, Yu-chan frees himself and says, "Are you out of your mind?" Saying this, he leaves. Next day, Yuji's friend Shin comes to meet her and asks what happened. Any result? Yuji says no. Shin asks, "What happened?" 6 years ago, he was a real man. Has his engine broken now? Yuji says, "Then what should I do?" Shin says, "You will have to plan something else." Now the night scene. When Yu-chan comes home, he sees Yuji sleeping on the sofa. As soon as Yuji opens her eyes, she runs to Yu-chan. "Here, drink this water. I brought water for you." Seeing her giving water so sweetly, Yu-chan grows suspicious. He says, "I don't trust you. I will get my own water." He takes out water and drink. Then Yuji's daughter Hwan comes and says, "Mama, I want water," and Yuji reaches for her guac. But Yuji does not give the water to Hwan and drinks it herself. Yu-chan watches and thinks she must have done something. Later, Yu-chan goes to shower. Yuji, stumbling, comes and says, "It's very hot," and directly falls on Yu-chan. Actually, she had mixed love medicine in that water so Yu-chan would fall for her and obey what she says. But it backfired. She clings to Yu-chan. Yu-chan thinks, "I can't watch the." He lifts her and takes her outside. "Get some fresh air. You will be fine," and starts to leave. But then he hears a splash. Turning back, he sees Yuji fallen inside a large pot filled with water. Yu-chan pulls her out and says, "You tried to drug me. Be thankful I'm a gentleman. Otherwise someone else would have taken advantage of you." Yuji replies, "What gentleman? If you were a gentleman, you wouldn't throw me in the water." Yu-chan says, "First, I saved your life, and now you blame me." Saying this, he leaves her. Drunk Yuji starts sinking again, shouting, "Help, help." Yu-chan lifts her and takes her straight to her room. Next day, we see Yu-chan bringing medicine for Yuji because the drug had caused side effect. Yu-chan holds her like a child and gives her the medicine. And seeing this, he feels a little sorry for Yuji. Then he takes her 2 children to school. He says, "You two are still eating? Not going to school soon?" Hwan says, "Mama said health first, then school." Yu-chan says, "You keep calling Mama, Mama. Didn't your dad teach you anything?" The kids say, "We've never seen our dad." Hearing this, Yu-chan is surprised and asks, "You have never seen Grandpa?" Hwan says, "No." Jian says, "Grandpa is not in this world and Grandpa hates us, so we never saw him." Hearing this, Yu-chan feels bad for Yuji. She really sacrificed a lot alone. He says, "If she were my daughter, I would have chased her out too." The kids scold him. "How dare you say that about our mama?" Yu-chan says, "I didn't mean that. I was joking. We are a family. Why would I throw you out?" Saying this, he takes them to school. Meanwhile, we see 2 men who look like gang members. One of them makes a call. Later, Yuji gets a call and her kids scream, "Mom, please save us." A man says, "I have kidnapped your children. If you want them back, come to the chemical plant with 1 million. Hearing this, Yuji panics and immediately calls Yu-chan. But Ning is by Yu-chan's phone and cuts Yuji's call. Yu-chan arrives. Ning says, "I came to see auntie." Yu-chan says, "There's no need for you to come to the hospital." Ning asks, "Why are you pushing me away? Is it because of Yuji?" Yu-chan says yes. Ning says, "Have you forgotten what happened 6 years ago?" Yu-chan says, "Thanks for what you did for me, but please leave now." Ning angrily storms out. Then a village man calls and says, "Yuji is in big trouble, so if you and Yu-chan could." But Ning was so angry that she didn't tell Yu-chan anything. In her heart, she thought it would be better if Yuji just died. Later, Yu-chan notices his phone is switched off. As soon as he turns it on, he gets a call. Someone informs him that the monkey gang has called Yuji to meet them. Hearing this, Yu-chan becomes worried. Meanwhile, we see Yuji, who still isn't fully recovered, but she still takes the money and goes to the kidnapper's location. She calls Shin, who is sitting with some guy. The moment Shin hears that Yuji's kids have been kidnapped, she immediately rushes out. Yuji arrives at the place and asks the gang leader, "Where are my children?" The kidnapper lets her talk to her kids, who are crying, "Mom, please save us." But it was actually an AI-generated voice. The gang leader hadn't really kidnapped the kids. It was all a trap to bring Yuji there. Realizing this, she says, "You're not getting any money," and tries to run away. But the goons catch her. Just then, Yu-chan shows up, He already knew this gang leader. Yu-chan says, if you wanna fight, fight me. Leave my wife out of this. The gang leader smirks. Finally, you're here. We still have unfinished business. Last time you defeated one of our men in the ring. This time, we'll take back our reputation. You'll fight one of my men again, and this time you'll lose. Yuji shouts, so you trapped me here just to take my money and get revenge on Yu-chan? The gang leader laughs. Exactly. Yu-chan is forced to fight, but the opponent cheats. He attacks Yu-chan with a metal weapon. Yuji yells, that's cheating. The leader says, there are no rules here. Angry, Yuji slaps him. The fighter keeps hitting Yu-chan with a steel chain. Yuji pleads, take the money I brought, but please let Yu-chan go. The leader refuses. At the first chance, Yu-chan grabs Yuji, and they both run. The monkey gang then chase after them. Seeing how Yu-chan protects her, Yuji can't help but stare at him with admiration. Yu-chan tells her run, I'll handle them. Yuji runs and calls Shin. Where are you? Shin says, just like you said, I'm coming with the guard. Then a car stops nearby. Ning steps out. She says to Yuji, if anything happens to Yu-chan, I won't spare you, and runs toward the fight with her men to help Yu-chan. Shin also arrives with the guards, and together they move in to help. At that moment, a man steps out of the car and says to Yuji, it's been 5 years since we met, but now I'm back. Later that night, Yu-chan returns home. He thanks Ning for her help and says, it's late. You should go home now. Ning insists, let me put medicine on your wounds. Yu-chan refuses, I'll do it myself. But Ning forces it and says, you're avoiding me because of that woman. The same woman who left you before. Yu-chan replies, that woman is now my wife. Meanwhile, Yuji brings her kids home from school, and that same man is with her. He asks Shin about Yu-chan. How's he now? Shin replies, he's safe. The man asks, who is Yu-chan? Yuji answers, he's my husband. Hearing this, the man looks shocked. He says, so you live here? Yuji nods. Just then, Yu-chan walks in, Ning right behind him. Yuji notices a lipstick mark on Yu-chan's shoulder. The man sees it too. Seeing this, Yuji says softly, looks like I came at the wrong time. Yu-chan says, where have you been all this time? Ning snaps, bringing a strange man home in the middle of the night. Don't you think that's too much? Yu-chan says, this is my family matter. Don't interfere, and asks her to leave. The man then turns to Yuji and says, I'm sorry. I didn't know you'd have to suffer so much, or that you'd marry a man like him. If I'd known, I'd never have left you. Hearing this, Yu-chan gets angry and grabs their son Jian from him. Yuji says, what are you doing? Yu-chan says, I'm your husband, and he's my son. Can't I hold him? The man says, so cheating after marriage is fine now? Yu-chan says angrily, why should I explain anything to you? Then Yuji's daughter Hwan says, Mama, I'm sleepy. The man lifts her up and Yu-chan says, this is my house. Tell your ex-boyfriend to give my daughter back. Yuji tells the man, you should leave now. But he says, you married this man? But did you ask your kids if they even like him? Then Hwan says, Yu-chan papa, hold me, I'm sleepy. Hearing this, Yu-chan smiles and picks her up in his arms. Seeing that, Yuji also smiles, happy that her children are finally accepting Yu-chan. Yu-chan then looks at her and says, you have 30 seconds. Send your ex away and come home. Saying that, he walks inside. Yuji tells the man, you saw right? My kids really like him, and today he even saved my life, so you should leave. She goes back inside. Inside, Yu-chan goes to pour himself a drink, but the kids stop him. You can't drink. You're injured. Yu-chan laughs, alright fine, I won't drink today, and starts playing with them happily. Then she comes inside and tells the kids to go to sleep. After that, she tells Yu-chan to apply medicine on his wounds, but Yu-chan gets angry and doesn't talk to her. Yuji starts finding fault. I caught you red-handed today. That's why you feel ashamed, right? Yu-chan says, you came home this late at night with your ex and still you're blaming me? Yuji says, you were having fun with your childhood friend, so don't accuse me. Yu-chan says, you were the one dying to marry me, not me. If you like that man so much, then go to him. She says, as long as our contract is on, I'm not going anywhere. You're misunderstanding me. I sent guards with Shin's help to save you. But before that, Ning came to help you, and then I went to school looking for my kids. That's why I got late. Hearing this, Yu-chan's anger calms down a little. Then he says, I heard you raised both kids alone. By the way, who is their father? Hearing this, she looks at Yu-chan but gives no answer. Yu-chan says, don't tell, I already know. Since when did you become so shameless? You slept with that man and left him. That's why you're suffering now. Hearing this, angry Yuji tightly ties his bandage. Yu-chan shouts in pain, are you crazy? Yuji starts hitting him. I did so much for you, and you talk like this? I'm leaving. Apply the medicine yourself. Later, when Yu-chan goes to take a shower, Yuji comes to him. Yu-chan says, what are you doing here? Yuji says, you're injured, so taking a shower isn't good. Let me clean your wound with warm water. But Yu-chan doesn't agree, and they start struggling. Yuji says, don't act like a kid, turn around. Then she starts cleaning his wound with warm water. At that moment, Yu-chan remembers his past. Some people were beating him. He asks, where's Yuji? They say, you're looking for a chairman, Yuji? Do you even know your worth? Chin called you for a fight. Why didn't you come? And friends, which fight they're talking about, we'll find out later. As soon as Yu-chan remembers that, he snatches the towel from Yuji and says, do you really want to help me? Or are you just looking for a reason to sleep with me? Yuji says, I'm not stone-hearted like you. That's why I was worried. And even if I wanted to sleep with you, you don't have the same quality anymore. Yu-chan says, what do you mean by that? What quality are you talking about? That night, Yu-chan tries to sleep but can't. He keeps thinking about Yuji, how she cares so much, and left her home to live in his villa. Thinking all this, he can't sleep the whole night. In the morning, when Yu-chan wakes up, Yuji is there. They look at each other and ignore. Then Yuji says, do you want to say something? Yu-chan says, are you free this evening? Yuji asks, what's the matter? Yu-chan doesn't tell and says, I'll wait for you at the boat at 5 p.m. and leave. Yuji says, how strange this man is. At 5 p.m., Yuji comes to the boat. She says, why did you call me here? Yu-chan says, why did you marry me when your ex-boyfriend is such a decent man? She says, why are you asking me all this? Don't tell me you've started liking me. Yu-chan looks at her and says, I just want to know what kind of person my wife is. She says, maybe you forgot, I'm your wife only for 3 months. Yu-chan says, that means you'll never tell me, not even your kid's father. Hearing this, Yuji steps closer and says, since when do you care? Or have you really started liking me? Just then, Ning arrives, sees them together, and leaves angrily. Yu-chan says to Yuji, it's really hard to understand women. Then both of them look toward the sea. Yu-chan tries to hug her but stops halfway. That means he likes her now but doesn't want to say it. Just then, Ning returns again with Yuji's kids and some workers. She says, you promised to give us a party. Today we want that. Yu-chan says, alright. In the evening, everyone starts enjoying. Yuji's kids are very happy. Yu-chan gives seafood to Hwan. She likes it a lot. Then he gives seafood to Jian, but Yuji stops him, saying he's allergic. Later, Yu-chan keeps playing happily with both kids, which makes Yuji very happy. Just then, she gets a call from Shin, and she walks aside to talk. When she turns back, she sees Jian eating seafood. Seeing this, Yuji gets angry at Yu-chan. While going back home, Yuji was still angry at Yu-chan. Yu-chan says, why are you so angry? He just ate a little. But Yuji says, I told you he has an allergy, still you were careless. Yu-chan says, what allergy? Jian looks perfectly fine. Yuji says, just because someone looks fine doesn't mean he has no problem. If something happens to my kids, will you take the responsibility? Yu-chan says yes. Yuji says, will you really manage all this? Remember, the money I gave you wasn't free, so just do what is written in our agreement. Yu-chan says, you mean sharing bed with me? Actually, according to the contract, Yu-chan has to be intimate with Yuji, and behind this, Yuji has a big reason that we will find out later in the story. Now Yu-chan was angry with Yuji. She says, what happened? Are you not going to do anything now? When Yu-chan doesn't reply, Yuji gets angry and starts taking off his clothes. Bro, what's even going on? I can't see this. Then Yu-chan also grabs her angrily and says, what kind of woman are you? Did you marry me just to be intimate with me? When he gets close to Yuji, Hwan suddenly says, why are you two fighting? Jian says, is this how people kiss? At least close the door. They both feel embarrassed, so she takes the kids to sleep. Next morning, they both sit for breakfast. They're still embarrassed and not looking into each other's eyes. Then Yuji gets a call from the school. Jian has fainted due to fever. Hearing this, Yuji immediately leaves the food and rushes out. Yu-chan asks what happened, but she says nothing and leaves. Now she reaches the hospital, looking very worried. It's my fault. I shouldn't have let him eat grilled meat. Shin says, don't worry. Dr. Chen is checking him. Then Chen comes out. She asks, how is Jian now? Chen says, he's better now and sleeping. Then he tells Chen, I want to talk to Yuji alone. When Chen leaves, Chen says, I saw Jian's report. He has a serious illness called leukemia. He needs a bone marrow transplant within 1 year. That means you married Yu-chan because he is the kid's father. Am I right? Yuji says nothing. Chen says, I'm a doctor. Why didn't you tell me before? I could have helped you find a bone marrow donor. You didn't need to marry such a man. Yuji says, I couldn't wait any longer. My child's life is in danger. Meanwhile, Yu-chan follows Yuji and reaches the hospital. There, Chen hugs Yuji and says, I can't see you with a man like that. It's all my fault. I should have met you earlier and seen the kid. Yu-chan overhears everything and realizes that Chen is Yuji's kid's father. He gets very hurt after knowing this. Then Yuji pushes Chen away, saying, what's gone is gone. I don't want to remember it. Chen says, will you give me one more chance? Yuji says, I already told you, I'm doing this by my own will. You don't need to worry about me. Chen says, if you ever need anything, tell me. He says this and goes to check on Jian. Then Yuji sees Yu-chan there. She runs to him and says, what are you doing here? But Yu-chan, full of anger, doesn't reply and says, is your ex the father of your kid? Yuji stays silent. Then Yuchan angrily says, I get it now. He left you and your kid. That's why you used me to make him jealous. That's why you married me for 3 months, right? Yuji says, enough. Just complete your contract. Yuchan, still angry, says, you're right. I should complete our agreement. Saying this, he forcefully takes Yuji back home. Yuji warns him, let me go. But Yuchan doesn't listen and says, what now? This was written in the contract. He starts kissing her by force. She tries to stop him, but he doesn't. He says, if you wanted to go back to your ex, then why did you come to me? Even if this marriage is fake, the contract is only between us, not any third person. Yuji says, you're misunderstanding me. There's no one else involved. But Yuchan doesn't listen. He says, you just needed one husband to make him jealous, right? Then let me help you. Saying this, he tries to force her, but suddenly he stops and looks very sad. Yuji says, I never thought you're this kind of man. Yuchan says, what kind of man? Do I look like someone who kills people in your life? He says this and lets her go. Then she runs away to the hospital. Later, an old village lady comes and says, Ning told me you're alone today, so I brought food for you. Yuji's kid is sick, so she can't take care of you. Hearing this, Yuchan says, what are you saying? Auntie says, didn't you know? Yuji's son had an allergy. Hearing this, Yuchan is shocked. That means Yuji didn't go to meet Chin, but went to see her son in the hospital. Realizing this, Yuchan runs to the hospital. When he reaches there, he sees Jian outside, where a nurse is walking him around. Yuchan comes to Jian and says, sorry, forgive me, I couldn't take care of you. Then he gives him a toy, which Jian likes very much. Just then, Yuji comes with Huan and Chen. Seeing them, Yuchan quietly walks away. He looks at them. They all look so happy together. Yuchan thinks to himself, they look like a real family. There's no place for me in their life. While looking at the toy, Yuji remembers that she saw the same toy at home, so she starts looking around, thinking maybe Yuchan came here. But Yuchan leaves from there, feeling very guilty that he unknowingly did something very bad with Yuji. He thinks, I shouldn't have done that. Meanwhile, we see Yuji's family. Her father is scolding his son, saying, our boxing club is running in loss. That's why we must bring Yuji back. Only she can save our company now. But Fang gets angry and says, we can't call sister back. His dad scolds him, you've been running this club for 6 years, but still it's in law. Fang says, maybe you forgot, 6 years ago I removed Yuchan from the fight so we could make big profit. I'll find another way, but don't call Yuji back. On the other side, when Yuchan was coming home, he sees Fang standing with some goon. Fang says, long time no see. I want you to fight for me in the boxing championship. In return, I'll give you a lot of money. But Yuchan refuses, saying, I'll never fight for your side. Fang replies, maybe you forgot what I do to those who refuse me. He threatens him, and later sends a message. You have only 3 days. If you don't agree, something bad will happen to your wife. Now Yuchan starts worrying about Yuji. He calls her and asks to meet. Next day, when Yuji comes home, Yuchan says, I'm canceling your contract and returning all your money. Yuji says, you can't do that. If you break the contract, you'll have to pay a penalty. Yuchan says, go back to your ex. That's what's right for you. And if you just want to make him jealous, find someone else, because I can't continue this act anymore. Hearing this, Yuji gets worried because if Yuchan leaves her, her whole plan will fail. They start arguing, but suddenly Yuchan's mom arrives. She was now discharged from the hospital. Seeing her, both of them go silent. Then the village aunt says, Yuji bought such a big house. Maybe she'll spoil your children. After all, she's rich and from the city. Yuchan comes and asks, Mom, why are you here? His mom says, you got married and didn't even tell me. Then she looks at Yuji and happily says, you didn't need to buy such a big house. Why did you spend so much money? Then she adds, I want to hold a wedding ceremony for both of you. Yuchan refuses, but Yuji says, okay, as you say. Yuchan's mom is very happy to meet her daughter-in-law, but Yuchan gets irritated. He says, Mom, I can't marry again. His mom replies, your wife bought this house for us and you can't even host a wedding? Don't be so stingy. You're grown up now. You should think about your wife with whom you'll spend your life. Then she takes Yuji with her, saying she wants to talk, but Yuji doesn't go and says, it'll be as Mom says. Then she calls Lin and tells her to plan the wedding. Now Yuchan grabs her and pulls her into another room, saying, I'm not doing this wedding ceremony. She says, it's not my plan, it's Mom's plan. Yuchan says, why are you marrying someone you don't even like? Are you doing all this to make your ex jealous? You must be so stubborn. That's why he left you. Yuji says, you're right. Yuchan says, listen to me, or I'll tie you up and throw you in the car trunk. Yuji replies, do whatever you want, but I'll still do what I decided. Then Yuchan realizes she won't listen, so he's forced to agree to the wedding ceremony. Now the wedding day arrives. There's grand preparation, and all the village people are present. Yuchan's mom meets Yuji's his kids and becomes very happy. She says, "These kids look just like Yuchan." Inside the house, Yuchan is changing his clothes. Both of them look very pretty. Then a man gives Yuchan some flowers and tells him to come outside. But Yuchan isn't interested at all. He stands there sulking. They push him and drag him outside. Everyone welcomes them warmly. According to the ritual, they both offer tea to Yuchan's mom. In return, she gifts Yuji her family bracelet, making Yuji emotional. Then everyone starts shouting, "Yuchan, kiss your wife now." Yuchan says, "I'm not doing that." A man asks, "Aren't you happy with your marriage?" Ning says, "I heard this wedding was arranged by your wife. Did she force you?" Everyone starts gossiping. Yuchan doesn't look happy. Hearing that, Yuchan suddenly kisses Yuji and says, "Now is it fine?" Everyone laughs and says, "Not yet. The bride has to kiss too." Yuchan says, "What nonsense is this?" Then Yuji also kisses Yuchan. Now it's nighttime. After the ceremony, they spend their honeymoon together. In the morning, when Yuji wakes up, she goes to get her clothes. Yuchan also wakes up and looks at her. Yuji quickly covers herself with the blanket. Yuchan says, "Why are you reacting like this? It's not like I saw anything." "Brother, seriously, these two act like cartoon." Later, Yuji tells Lin about her honeymoon. Lin says, "You two are so fat. How did you even win Yuchan over?" Yuji says, "Nothing special. For him, it's just a part of the agreement. He wants to leave me as soon as possible. He's even ready to break the contract." Lin says, "Once this is over, he'll leave your life completely. Only his child will stay." Yuji doesn't answer. Lin says, "Yuji, don't tell me you've started liking him." Yuji replies, No, why would I like him?" Lin says, "That loafer doesn't even deserve you." Meanwhile, Yuchan goes to meet Yuji's ex-boyfriend Chen. Chen says, "Why did you come here?" Yuchan says, "I want to know when you met Yuji and why you broke up." Chen replies, "I don't talk about personal things during work." But Yuchan teases him, "You must have cheated on her, right?" Chen gets serious and says, "She was my first love, but my parents didn't like her." Yuchan says, "So, how many more girls have you loved?" Chen says, "Only Yuji." Yuchan asks, "If you loved her so much, why didn't you convince your parents?" Chen says, "That's all old now. Back then, I wasn't capable. Otherwise, she wouldn't be with you today." Then Yuchan mocks him, saying bad things about Yuji. "Look at you. You're so successful, yet she still runs after a guy like me. How foolish she is." Hearing this, Chen gets angry and punches Yuchan, saying, "If you don't like her, then divorce her. But don't insult her in front of me." Yuchan says nothing. Actually, he had come to test Chen to see if he was worthy of Yuji or not. Now he got his answer and leave. Later that night, Yuji is returning home from work. On the way, a man stops her. Yuji asks, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" The man says someone wants to talk to you, and then tries to grab her by force. But Yuji uses her taser and shocks him down. Just then, Yuchan arrives, and seeing him, the goon runs away. Yuji gets so scared that she hugs Yuchan tightly. Yuchan says, "Don't worry, I'm here now. If you're ever coming home late, tell me, I'll come to pick you up." Yuji says, "But you wanted to end the contract." Yuchan says, "That's what's right for both of us." Hearing that, Yuji gets angry. Yuchan tells her to sit on the bike, but she refuses and walks away. After dropping Yuji home, Yuchan goes back on the same road, where Fang is standing with his men. Yuchan, full of rage, starts beating all the goons badly. Then he punches Fang too, saying, "How dare you attack my wife?" Fang says, "Whether you like it or not, you have to do that fake fight." Then he escapes from there. Meanwhile, Yuji is thinking, Yuchan doesn't even have much money, yet he's ready to pay the penalty for breaking the contract. Is there some other reason behind this? Just then, Yuchan comes home. Yuji asks, "That man who tried to grab me today, is he after you? Did he want to threaten you by catching me?" But Yuchan says nothing clearly, and Yuji angrily goes to sleep. Later, Yuchan catches Fang again, ties his hands, throws him into the car, and drives at full speed. Fang gets scared and shouts, "Let me go." Yuchan was about to throw the car into the water when Fang yells, "Yuji is my sister." Hearing that, Yuchan suddenly stops the car. "What nonsense are you saying?" Fang says, "Don't you know Yuji is the eldest daughter of our family and my sister? Didn't she ever tell you?" This shocks Yuchan badly. He realizes Yuji belongs to the same family that destroyed his boxing career 6 years ago. Thinking of this, Yuchan starts feeling dizzy. Then Fang's men attack him from behind, but Yuchan fights them all. Fang says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. We already kicked Yuji out of the house 6 years ago. We have nothing to do with her now." Meanwhile, Yuji sees Yuchan staggering into the house, covered in injuries. She immediately brings medicine for him, but Yuchan is furious, remembering that her family ruined his career, and now Yuji is playing a contract game with him. In anger, he breaks the glass and grabs Yuji, biting her neck. Yuji shouts, "What the hell are you doing?" and bites him back. "What's even happening here, brother?" Yu-chan says, "I've paid the penalty amount. Take this money and get lost." Hearing that, Yuji becomes sad and leaves. Next day, Yu-chan is on his boat when Hao comes. Yu-chan says, "This money is from the battle. Use it to take care of my mom and Yuji." The man asks, "Are you really going to fight him? That fighter has already killed 2 men in the ring. You could die." Meanwhile, Yuji is leaving the house since the contract ended. On the other hand, Yu-chan is fighting that same boxer in the ring. He was told to lose, so he keeps getting beaten badly. Then Shin comes to Yuji and shows her an article. Hongfu Group is holding a championship fight, and Yu-chan is joining. He's already accused of match fixing. If he loses today, his remaining career will be over. Hearing this, Yuji finally understands everything. She rushes straight to meet Fang, shouting, "I know now, this is all your plan. Why are you doing this?" Fang says, "Just wait 1 hour and you'll know everything." Yuji says, "I know you hate me, but let me tell you, Yu-chan is only my contract husband. It doesn't matter to me whether he lives or dies." Fang says, "So, the marriage is fake, but the emotions are real. You know, he also told me the same thing, but to keep you safe, he agreed to my deal. Even when he found out that you were my sister, still he accepted my deal and went into the ring to fight, where today he will be beaten like a dog, and the only one responsible for all this will be you. As soon as he loses, our Hongfu Group will become famous again." Hearing this, Yuji becomes very worried and starts running straight towards the arena. Just then, she gets a call from Chen, who says, "You are pregnant, so now you don't need Yu-chan." Actually, Yuji's baby needs a bone marrow transplant, for which cord blood is required. But cord blood is produced only when a mother gives birth to a child, and that's why Yuji did a contract marriage with Yu-chan only for the baby. Yuji says, "Now I will not leave him." Hearing this, Chin becomes tense, and we come to know that Yuji is not yet pregnant. But Chin lied to her so that she would go away from Yu-chan. Now Yuji reaches the arena, where Yu-chan is being badly beaten. She cries and extends her hand towards him. Then Yu-chan also holds her hand, and the fight ends there. In the next scene, both of them are at home, where Yuji is applying medicine to him. She says, "Why did you risk your career? Seeing you like this reminded me of the old Yu-chan." Yu-chan says, "Finally, you started understanding me." Yuji says, "Earlier I thought you were selfish, but now I know you are a big fool." Saying this, she hugs him. Next day, when Yu-chan wakes up, he hears Yuji shouting. He quickly comes out of the house, where he sees Yuji trying to catch a rooster to make chicken soup for him. But the rooster pecks her and runs away. Then Yu-chan helps her wash her hand. After that, Yu-chan says, "I want you not to go from here." She says, "You were the one who wanted me to leave, so what happened now?" Yu-chan says, "Forgive me for everything I did wrong to you. Is your contract still valid?" She actually wants to stay with him, but teasing him, she says, "No." Yu-chan hugs her and says, "I won't let you go anywhere." Now both of them have started liking each other. Later, when they are having lunch, a news notification comes on their phones. It says, Yu-chan is a match fixer, a complete cheater, and his boxing career is now over. Reading this, Yu-chan feels very hurt, but he pretends in front of Yuji that it doesn't matter, because he doesn't want her to feel sad. Later, he goes near the sea, where he feels very broken, because once he was a #1 boxer, and now people call him a cheater. Meanwhile, at home, Yuji is very worried. It's been a long time, but Yu-chan hasn't come back. She wonders if something bad happened to him. She tries to call him, but his phone is switched off, so she goes out herself to find him. When Yu-chan comes home soaked in rain, he doesn't find Yuji there. He calls her, but her phone doesn't connect. Then he thinks maybe Yuji has left him, but suddenly, Yuji comes from behind, and Yu-chan hugs her tightly, saying, "Where did you go, and why wasn't your phone working?" Yuji says, "I should ask you that. Where did you go? You know how scared I was." Yu-chan says, "Did you think I jumped into the water and died?" Yuji says, "Stop your nonsense." Yu-chan says, "Don't worry." That night, Yuji tells Yu-chan that she is going to be the mother of his child. Hearing this, Yu-chan becomes very happy. Now he wants to marry her for real instead of a contract. Yuji also promises that she will stay with him all her life, but she is afraid that if Yu-chan comes to know the truth, why she did the contract merit, then what will happen? Next day, Chin calls Yuji and says, "I have come to your village. I need to talk to you." But Yuji says, "I already told you. I will not leave Yu-chan now." Hearing this, Chin gets angry and purposely throws a paper near Ning and leaves. When Ning sees that paper, she becomes secretly happy. Now we see Fang. His dad is scolding him, saying, "I didn't know you could fall this low. Attacking a weak person is not right." Fang says, "Didn't you see that because of the tournament, our company is trending now?" But his dad scolds him badly, and Fang walks out angrily. Then he gets a message saying, Yuji has taken down the trending topic. Hearing that, he becomes even angrier and calls someone. Meanwhile, When Yuchan and Yuji are returning home, many reporters surround them, asking rude questions. Did you marry Yuchan just to use him and help the Hongfu group? 6 years ago, Yuchan also did match fixing. What does the public say about that? Then Yuchan says, Yuji didn't know anything about this before, and even now she hasn't used me for anything. But reporters don't stop. Yuji says, Yuchan doesn't need to explain anything, and she tells Fang, I know you are the one behind all the. At the same time, Jinhai is watching all this live. He was the one who sent the media there. Meanwhile, Ning tells Yuchan's mom that Yuji is the daughter of the Hongfu family. Hearing this, Yuchan's mom is shocked, and her health starts getting worse. Ning goes to Yuchan's room to get medicine, where she accidentally finds the contract paper. Seeing that, she realizes that both of them had a fake marriage. When Yuchan brings Yuji home, his mom slaps him and says, fool. She says, you married into the same family that destroyed your career. And she also gets angry at Yuji. Yuchan says, Mom, Yuji didn't do anything wrong. She doesn't even know what happened to me in the past. Yuji says, Mom, I really don't know anything. Please believe me. I truly love Yuchan and want to stay with him. But Yuchan's mom doesn't listen. Then Yuchan's mom's friend shows her a trending news post, the news of Yuchan and Yuji's contract marriage. Seeing that, his mom becomes even angrier and says, now what is this? Your family has even bought my son with money. Yuji tries to explain to her, but she doesn't agree. She says, you can't be my daughter-in-law. Get out of here. Yuchan says, Mom, that contract marriage, I signed it by my own choice. Then his mom shows Yuji's pregnancy report and says, what is this? She lied to you that she was pregnant. Seeing the report, Yuji also gets shocked realizing that Chin lied to her that day. Now Yuchan's mom is so angry that she doesn't even want to see Yuji's face. She tells her to leave the house. Yuchan runs to stop Yuji, but suddenly his mom's health starts getting worse, so he goes back to her. When Yuji comes outside, the press surrounds her, and even some villagers, angry after hearing her news, start abusing and beating her. Just then, Chin arrives like a hero and protects her. But now Yuji knows his truth, so she says, I don't need your help, and starts walking away alone. Meanwhile, Yuchan's mom still isn't well, so Yuchan calls the doctor. But at the same time, he is worried for Yuji. Ning stops him from going to her, but Yuchan gets angry at Ning. He says, you provoked my mom, and you leaked that contract paper too. Ning says, I already deleted that post, but Yuchan warns her, stay away from my mom, and leave. On the other side, Chin is still following Yuji. He tells her to sit in the car, but she refuses and says, why did you lie that I was pregnant? I never thought you could do such a cheap thing. Chin says, leave him. I will help you find a bone marrow donor for your baby. Just come with me. Yuji says, Yuchan is the father of my children, and I'll live my whole life only with him. Hearing this, Chin gets furious and says to himself, I'll get you no matter what happened. Meanwhile, Yuchan finds some proof against Fang, evidence that can clear the false charges on both him and Yuji. So, Yuchan gives that proof to a reporter. At the same time, Yuji is also looking for evidence against Fang to clear Yuchan's name. Then she finds out that the person who trapped Yuchan was his own coach. If he tells the truth, Yuchan's false allegations will be removed. Then Yuji goes to Yuchan's coach and offers him a lot of money. She says, if you testify for Yuchan and tell the truth, I will pay you 10 times more. Seeing so much money, the coach agrees to testify for Yuchan. Later, it is shown that the match-fixing charges on Yuchan are removed. Hearing this, Yuji becomes very happy. But then, some goons arrive. They were sent by Fang to kidnap Yuji. Just then, Yuchan also comes there, and seeing him, the goons run away. On the other side, we see Yuji's stepbrother Fang, whose truth has now been exposed. Many reporters surround him, and the same news is being watched by Yuji and Yuchan. Both of them look very happy. Then their 2 children come and start playing with Yuchan. Shin says to Yuji, the kids have started liking Yuchan, so when will you tell him that both of them are his children? Yuji says, once Yuchan's mom accepts me, I'll tell him everything. Meanwhile, Yuchan's mom is watching the news. Reporters are asking Fang and Yuji's dad questions. Why did you do wrong with Yuchan? Seeing Han's face, Yuchan's mom remembers the old days. There we learn that Yuji's dad and Yuchan's dad were once good friends. They started a business together, and Yuchan's dad invested all his money in it. But one day, he suddenly died, and Yuji's dad Han also disappeared. So Yuchan's mom believed that Han was behind her husband's death. That's why she hates the Han family so much. Then Yuchan brings Yuji home, hoping maybe his mom will forgive her. But his mom gets so angry seeing Yuji that she loses control again, and her health gets worse. Yuchan and Yuji immediately take her to the hospital. The doctor says, your mother's condition is very serious. She needs surgery soon. but only Dr. Zhao can do it. He retired a few years ago. Yuchan asks, where can I find that doctor? The doctor says, I don't know. Then, adding salt to the wound, Shin comes and says, with time, your mother's health will only get worse. Hearing that, Yuchan grabs his collar and shouts, how dare you talk about my mom like that? Yuji stops Yuchan. Then Shin calls Yuji aside and says, your dad knows Dr. Zhao. If you ask for his help, he will surely help you. Now seeing Yuchan so sad, Yuji decides to ask help from her estranged father. It starts raining. Outside her father's house, Yuji shouts and calls out to him, but no one opens the gate for her. Inside, her father is watching her through the window, and Chin is there with him. So it turns out Chin is definitely up to something shady. What a disgusting man. We then learn that Dr. Zhao isn't actually her father's friend, he's Chen's friend. It was Chen's clever trick all along, to use Han to manipulate Yuji. Chen tells Han, join hands with me, it'll benefit both our businesses. Han is so greedy that he can't even see his own daughter beyond his profits. He says, fine, I accept your deal. I'll marry Yuji to you. What a horrible father. Chen smirks and says, even though Yuchan is the father of Yuji's 2 children, don't ever accept him. It's because of him that your company suffered losses. Meanwhile, Yuji keeps shouting, Dad, Dad, outside in the rain. Then Feng's mother, Yuji's stepmother, comes out. She hates Yuji deeply. She orders the guards to throw her out, but Yuji forcefully enters the house anyway. Seeing her, the cunning Chen quickly hides. Yuji says to her father, Yuchan's mother is in danger, please save her. Her father snaps, and who will repay the losses Yuchan caused to my company? You, she says, yes, I'm ready to give away all my share. Just please call Dr. Zhao. Hearing this, her father gets angry. Don't be foolish. If you give away all your shares, how will you raise your children? Yuji replies, people matter more than money, Dad. Hearing that, her father furiously throws her out of the house. But he knows his daughter well. Yuji is stubborn. She'll die before giving up. So he tells Chen, fine, I'll accept your condition. Chen then calls Dr. Zhao. Meanwhile, Yuji collapses outside from exhaustion, and Chen rushes over and carries her away. Dr. Zhao reaches the hospital. There, Ning lies to Yuchan, saying, look, I brought Dr. Zhao myself. Your mom will be fine now. Yuchan's aunt adds, see, this girl helped you. And that Yuji? She ran away when things got tough. But Yuchan ignores their word. He doesn't even know what condition Yuji is in right now. A while later, Dr. Zhao tells him, your mother's surgery is complete. She's safe now. Yuchan feels relieved. Meanwhile, Shin calls Yuchan and yells, your wife is sick, and you left her alone. If you don't come today, don't ever come again. Chin, being the jerk he is, tries to take advantage of Yuji's condition, but Chin arrives just in time and forces him out. Then Yuchan also arrives. Chin tries to stop him, but Yuchan, furious, pushes him aside and runs in to care for Yuji. Chin says to Yuchan, I'm leaving Yuji in your care. If anything happens to her, I won't forgive you. She drags Chin out of there. That night, Yuchan takes care of Yuji and falls asleep beside her. The next morning, he makes soup for her, but then receives a message. Your mom has regained consciousness. Come to the hospital quickly. He leaves a note for Yuji. Take care of yourself. Then he rushes to the hospital. At the hospital, his mom is still angry. You should thank Ning, she says. I'm alive because of her. And remember, I'll never forgive Yuji. I want you to marry Ning. She's the right one for you. Yuchan doesn't argue. Later, he calls Ning outside and says, there's no place for you in my heart. Yuji is my first and last love. I'll repay what you did for me soon. Then he walks away. Ning tries to stop him, but at that very moment, Yuji arrives. She says, I'm glad your mom's fine now. Yuchan replies, it was Ning who brought Dr. Zhao. Because of her, the surgery happened. Hearing this, Yuji thinks her father never helped her. It must have been Ning who arranged everything, so she thanks Ning. Yuchan then says, come, I'll take you to meet my mom. But Yuji refuses, not right now. It wouldn't be good to meet her like this. I'll go once she's fully recovered. Ning, seeing them together, burns with jealousy. Later, when Yuchan goes to his mom's room, Yuji leaves. We then see Chen nearby calling Han, I've done my job. Now fulfill your promise. Soon, Han visits Yuji's house. Yuji sends her kids to their room and says, why are you here? He replies, I brought Dr. Zhao just like you wanted. Now you fulfill your promise. Realizing this, Yuji understands Ning had lied. It was her father who brought the doctor. She says, alright, I'll keep my word. Then she signs over all her company shares to him. But her father surprises her. He refuses to take them. I've merged your company with mine, he says. From today, you're the new CEO of the Hanfu Group. Yuji is shocked. You really want me to return? Her father nodded. Yes, I'm getting old, and I need a capable CEO to handle the company. Yuji accepts his condition, and becomes the new CEO. It turns out, her father never trusted Fong, so he made Yuji the new head of the family business. It's because Yuji is the only one who can truly grow the company. Meanwhile, we see Ning, who also works at Hanfu Group. Suddenly, Yuji arrives there and slaps Ning hard, because Ning had lied to everyone, claiming that she was the one who brought Dr. Zhao. Ning angrily tries to throw Yuji out of the office, but then she's stunned to learn that Yuji is now the new CEO of Hanfu Group. Just then, breaking news flashes, Yuji is soon to be engaged to Chen. Hearing this, Yuji is completely shocked, because her father hadn't said a word to her about any merit. Meanwhile, Yu-chan brings his mother home. She reads the same news and says, "You said Yuji is your wife, and that she'd never leave you. Then what is that? She's marrying another man." Yu-chan can't believe what he's seeing. He's unsure whether it's true or just a rumor. So he rushes off immediately to meet Yuji and find out the truth. At the same time, Yuji confronts Han. "Dad, what is this? Why do you want me to marry Chen?" Han replies coldly, "I gave you 2 conditions. You fulfilled one, but the second is still pending. You must marry Chen. That's what's best for you." Yuji refuses immediately. "I'll never marry him." Han says, "Yu-chan's mother isn't fully recovered yet. She still needs Dr. Zhao's treatment. Do you want her to die?" Now Yuji realizes her father has trapped her again. She says, "Dad, you haven't changed at all." Han says darkly, "You will marry Chen. If you refuse, I'll have Yu-chan beaten and stop his mother's treatment." Hearing that, Yuji is completely torn. Then the cunning Chen enters and says softly, "If you care even a little for Yu-chan, stay away from him. Otherwise, if something happens to his mother because of you, he'll never forgive you. It's better you listen to your father." Yuji is confused and devastated. She doesn't know what to do. As she walks out of the building, a swarm of reporters surround her. Is it true you're getting engaged to Chen? At that moment, Yu-chan also arrived. Yuji doesn't want to say yes, but she knows if she denies it, her father will stop Yu-chan's mother's treatment. So she says to the reporters, "Yes, what you heard is true. I'm getting engaged to Chen." Yu-chan is stunned. He approaches her, but Yuji ignores him and walks away. Suddenly, Fong's thugs appear and grab Yu-chan, beating him before taking him to Han. Yu-chan says, "You're forcing Yuji to marry Chen." Han says coldly, "I checked your background. You were a good student. How did you end up as a boxer? Leave Yuji, and I'll set your life right." But Yu-chan refuses to leave her. Han adds, "Because of you, 6 years ago, Yuji was thrown out of the house." Yu-chan is shocked. "What? Yuji was kicked out because of me?" Han says, "She gave me all her company shares so she could bring Dr. Zhao for your mother's treatment. She begged me for help all night in the rain. Didn't she tell you?" Hearing this, Yu-chan is shattered, realizing how much Yuji did for him, and he never even knew. Han threatens him one last time and leaves. Later, as Yuji is walking home with Yuji's children, Yu-chan arrives. The moment he sees her, he hugs her tightly, saying, "You did all that for me, and I never knew." Yuji suddenly remembers her father's warning, if she stays with Yu-chan, his mother, and he will suffer. She notices Yu-chan's injuries. "Did you meet my father?" Yu-chan says, "Don't worry about me. I'll deal with him." But Yuji shouts, "You can't do anything." Yu-chan asks, "Why are you talking like this? What happened to you?" She says coldly, "I'm engaged to Chen now. It's over." Yu-chan says, "I don't believe that." She replies, "Believe it or not, our contract is over. From now on, our paths are separate." She turns to leave, but Yu-chan grabs her and kisses her. Yuji slaps him hard and says, "If you really want to know the truth, listen. Because of you, I lost my company. Because of you, I faced humiliation. Every moment with you is filled with fear, and I don't want my children to live that way." Yu-chan says, "But you don't even love Chen." She replies, "Love isn't everything. Chen has name, power, and money. What do you have? Even if I admit that I love you, what can you give me, Yu-chan? Tell me." Hearing that, Yu-chan breaks down completely. He says quietly, "You're right. I have nothing." Yuji is heartbroken too. She only said all that so he would hate her and move on. Both of them cry silently for each other, as Yu-chan stands there by the elevator, unable to move. The next day, we see Yu-chan's mother. She doesn't want to stay in the house spot by Yuji's family, so she starts packing her thing. While cleaning, Ning finds an old photo. It's Yu-chan's father with Han. Yu-chan's mother says angrily, "Don't show this photo to Yu-chan." The man beside his father is the friend who belonged to Yuji's family, the one responsible for our downfall. Hearing this, Ning smirks secretly, clearly planning something evil. Meanwhile, Yu-chan is still standing by the elevator, lost, broken, and thinking about Yuji. Yu-chan tries many times to go near Yuji, but he doesn't go because he doesn't want Yuji's children to know that they are separated now. That's why he waits for Yuji to come. But Yuji does come through another lift. and even though they are so close, they still can't see each other. Now Yu-chan goes back to his villa. He sees his mom packing things because she doesn't want to live in the house that Yuji bought. Meanwhile, Ning purposely drops an old photo of Yu-chan's dad, which Yu-chan notices. His mom tries to hide it, but Yu-chan says, "Mom, you said the other man in this photo is Dad's killer, but you never told me who he is. Why are you still hiding it from me?" Hearing this, his mom gets angry. It's been 20 years, and the killer was never caught. Even if you know the truth, what will you do? We can't fight those people. Forget all this now. Then Clever Ning says, "This other man is Yuji's father, Han. I work in his company, so I've seen his old photo." Now Yu-chan understands why his mom hates Yuji so much. He asks, "Did Han kill my dad?" But his mom doesn't answer, so Yu-chan himself goes to Yuji's house to find the truth. There, a guard shows Han the old photo, and Han is shocked. Just then, Yu-chan comes inside and says, "Why did you kill my father?" Han says, "Are you really my friend's son? Why should I believe you?" Yu-chan gets angry. "Answer me. Why did you kill my father?" Han remembers that when he checked Yu-chan's background before, it showed something different. Maybe this boy lied. Han says, "I don't believe you. I'll check your details myself. If you are really my friend's son, only then I'll tell you everything." He calls one of his men and says, "Find out who Yu-chan's father really was. Till then, he'll stay here like a guest." That day, Yu-chan was very sad. His father's death ruined his whole life. That's why he left studies and started boxing. After a few hours, Han finds out that Yu-chan is truly his friend's son. He says, "Now I must fix everything." Meanwhile, Yuji doesn't know that Yu-chan is in her house. When she sees him, she's shocked. "Are you crazy? How did you come here? Go away before my dad sees you. Do you even know where you are?" But Yu-chan is angry. He holds Yuji and says, "Now I'm standing in a rich man's house. Did your dad ever tell you how he became this rich?" Yuji says, "Whatever wrong Hanfu Group did to you, you'll get justice. But please leave now." Yu-chan says nothing and walks away. The next day, Han was about to transfer company shares to Yu-chan. Chin was secretly listening to them. The lawyer says, "There's a contract between your company and Chen's family. If you divide your shares, they might create problem." Han says, "I'll handle the Chen family, but Yu-chan deserves a share." He gives 56% of the company shares to Yu-chan. Just then, Chen walks in, pretending to check Han's health. His mood is bad. Han says, "I want to tell you something." Chen says, "Don't tell me you found out that Yu-chan is your friend's son, and now you want to break my engagement with Yuji and marry her to him?" Han says, "If my friend were alive, Yu-chan and Yuji would already be together. They love each other, and they even have 2 kids." Chen says, "A doctor doesn't believe in fate." Then he secretly mixes some medicine in Han's water and gives it to him, then leave. Later, Yu-chan goes to meet Han, but Han's chest starts hurting and he feels weak. Yu-chan doesn't notice and asks, "Now that you know the truth, what do you want to say?" Han says, "It's true, I was connected to your father's death." Hearing this, Yu-chan grabs his collar. "He was your friend. Why did you do it?" Before Han can explain, he collapses. Yuji arrives and panic. Then Chin and Yuji's stepmom come too. The stepmom finds the papers showing Han gave 56% shares to Yu-chan. Yuji is shocked. Yu-chan is also surprised. Yuji misunderstands that Yu-chan must have done something to her dad just to get those shares. They take Han to the hospital. Chin says, "He's out of danger, but in a coma now. Don't worry, I'll take care of him at home." Yuji thanks him. Then Yuji's stepmom starts shouting at Yuji, "This is all because of you. Since you came back, nothing good has happened. Why did Mr. Han give Yu-chan the shares?" Yuji takes Yu-chan aside and says, "Tell me the truth. What did you do to my dad? Why did he give you the company share?" Yu-chan says, "I don't know. And even if I knew, why would I tell you?" Yuji gets angry. "You did all this because I broke up with you, right?" Yu-chan says, "Your family hurt mine. They deserve this. Do you even know your dad killed my father?" Just then, Chen enters and starts acting very caring toward Yuji, telling her to stay away from Yu-chan. He pretends that Yu-chan is a villain. Yuji also begins to lose trust in Yu-chan and leaves with Chen. But Yu-chan starts doubting Chen, because before all this, Chen had met Mr. Han. So he thinks Yuji's father's life is still in danger. "Until I find the truth, I can't leave Yuji alone." Yuji brings her father back home. Soon after, Yu-chan arrives with some of his men. Seeing him, Yuji angrily says, "What are you doing here?" Yu-chan says, "I'm still your contract husband." Yuji replies, "Our contract is over." Yu-chan says, "Who said that? I haven't signed the termination papers yet. And, anyway, half of Hanfu Group belongs to me now, which means half this house is mine too." Yuji tries to slap him, but Yu-chan grabs her hand tightly and says, "I own more than half now. Don't make me angry, or I'll destroy everything." Yuji is shocked to see this side of him. "Since when did you become so shameless?" Just then, Yuji's stepmother comes and tries to slap Yuji, saying, Everything wrong here happens because of you. But Yuchan grabs her hand and pushes her away. He warns, if anyone in this house dares to touch my woman, I won't spare them. Terrified, she runs away shouting, my son Fang will deal with you. Yuji says, what are you doing? Yuchan says, in the village, you and I slept under the same roof. That's why I'm here. Then he lifts Yuji in his arms and carries her upstairs by force. Chen sees all this and burns with jealousy. Yuchan locks the room and holds Yuji. Why do you hate me? Because of your father or because of Chen? Yujie. Hearing that, Yuchan, in anger, kisses her and says, I'll never let you go. Meanwhile, outside, Chen tells Yuji's daughter Huan, go tell your mom that Jian is sick. Huan says the same, and Yuji rushes to Jian, but he is perfectly fine. Then Yuji realizes that Chen made Han lie. Yuchan also comes and starts playing with Jian. When Yuji scolds Huan, Yuchan calms her down and helps Yuji put both kids to sleep. Later, Chen comes to Yuji's room, trying to enter. Yuji stops him. We'll talk tomorrow. Chen says, we should marry soon so that my family can help yours. Yuji says, marriage should be about love, but I don't love you. Yuchan overhears this and understands that Yuji got engaged to Chen out of pressure. So he goes straight to Yuji's room. Chen blocks him. What are you doing? She's my fiancé. Yuchan says, fiancé, huh? You're not married yet, right? Talk to me after the wedding. Then he shuts the door and goes inside. He lifts Yuji onto the bed, but lies down on the floor himself. Yuji is angry, but deep down knows Yuchan is a good man. Late at night, Yuchan goes to see Yuji's father. He thinks, if Han was involved in my father's death, why did he give me a share? What was he trying to tell me that day? Just then, one of Yuchan's men says, why are you protecting this old man? He treated you so badly. You should let him suffer. Yuchan replies, I want the truth about my father. Only Yuji's father can tell me that, and whoever attacked him once might try again. Chen overhears this conversation. Then Yuchan notices a microphone hidden under the table and realizes someone is spying on them. When he walks out to the hall, he sees Chen going towards Yuji's room. Yuchan says, there's no point going to her room now. Chen says, do you think I'll hurt her? And even if I did, what proof would you have against me? Yuji overhears everything from upstairs and realizes that Chen isn't as innocent as he pretends to be. Chen then warns Yuchan, stay away from Yuji, or it won't end well for you. But Yuchan isn't afraid. He says, Yuji is my woman. Meanwhile, Yuji is still thinking, why did dad transfer the company shares to Yuchan? Did he force him? So the next day, she goes to meet the lawyer. The lawyer tells her, your father gave those shares to Yuchan by his own will. He said he owed Yuchan's father a great debt. That's all I know. Also, Chen met Mr. Han before Yuchan, and he gave him some kind of medicine. Yuji is shocked. Now she understands Chen did something to her dad, not Yuchan. When she returns home, she sees Chen trying to touch Jian. She quickly stops him, afraid he might harm her son too, because now she knows his true fate. Chen gets angry. Why are you afraid of me? That Yuchan hurt your father and troubles you again and again, but you don't fear him, and I'm the one who loved you since childhood. Yuji says, you left me, Chen. I'm not something you can just buy whenever you want. You made a deal with my father, not with me. Hearing that, Chen gets furious and tries to force himself on her, but Yuji breaks a bottle and holds the glass in front of him. Stay away from me. I don't love you. Chen threatens, remember my words. Very soon, you'll come to me yourself. Yuji is terrified seeing his real fate. Just then, Yuchan arrives, and when he sees Yuji in this state, he applies medicine on her wound and asks, how did this happen? Then he says, Jian needs bone marrow, right? Hearing this, Yuji gets shocked. How does he know that Jian needs bone marrow? Did he find out everything already? Yuchan says, Jian's dad is that Chen, right? Isn't he giving the bone marrow? Meaning, Yuchan still doesn't know that he himself is the father of the twins. Then Yuchan says, don't worry, I'll help find a bone marrow donor for Jian. Yuji asks, how? Are you a doctor? He replies, no, but I have some contacts. Saying this, he leaves. Later, Yuji goes to her dad. She says, I was wrong about Yuchan. I don't think you did anything bad. So, was Chen the one who hurt you? Please wake up soon. I want to know the truth, and what really happened to Yuchan's family. Just then, she notices her dad's finger moving. Shocked, she quickly calls the doctor. Meanwhile, Clever Chen is listening through a hidden mic. He says to himself, looks like Han is regaining consciousness. If he tells the truth, everything will be ruined. It's better if he sleeps forever. Then Chen takes a poison injection and cuts the house's electricity, making everything dark. Yuji gets scared and says, why did the lights go off? Just then, Yuchan catches her hand and takes her with him in the van. From there, Chen listens to the sounds in Han's room through the mic. She hears Chen saying to her dad, I didn't want to kill you, but if you wake up, the truth will come out, and I don't want her to leave me, so you have to die. Hearing this, Yuji gets terrified and runs to her dad's room, where Yuchan's men have already caught Chen. Yuji slaps Chen hard, I never knew you could fall this low. Then she tells Yuchan to leave. I need to talk to him alone. Angrily, she says to Chin, I'm breaking our engagement. You hurt my dad just to get me. I'll never forgive you. Whether you go to jail or not, my dad will decide that. Chin says, I agree I did wrong. But did you never love me? She replies coldly, never. I don't even want to see your face again. Leave. Chin leaves quietly. Then Yuji goes to Yuchan and asks, you said your father's death is connected to my dad. Then why did you save him? Yuchan doesn't answer. Just then, Yuji gets a call. We found a bone marrow match for your son Jian. Please come to the hospital tomorrow. Yuji becomes very happy. She asks Yuchan, how did you manage that? He smiles. I told you I'd find the donor. Saying this, he turns to go, but Yuji stops him and hugs him tightly. Meanwhile, we see Yuji's stepbrother Fang talking to Ning. He says, we have to work together. Only then will we get what we want. It means both are planning revenge against Yuji. The next day, Yuji goes to the hospital with Jian. The doctor says, we found Yuchan's bone marrow to be a match. We'll start Jian's treatment soon. Yuji feels very relieved, but then she realizes Jian is missing. She starts searching everywhere and suddenly bumps into Ning. Yuji asks, have you seen Jian anywhere? Ning replies, he went that way. But this was Ning's plan to help Fang's men kidnap both Jian and Yuji. And exactly that happened. When Yuji wakes up, she finds herself tied up with ropes, and Jian is tied up too, unconscious. She panics and cries. Then Fang walks in. Yuji asks, why are you doing that? What do you want? Fang shouts, do you know why I'm angry, my dear stepsister? Because dad always favored you. He treated you like you were worthy and me like a fool. But not anymore. Now I'll remove you from my way. But first, I want the company shares that your contract husband owns. He calls Yuchan and says, your wife and child are with me. Do as I say, or they'll suffer. After some time, Yuchan arrives and sees Yuji locked inside a car. He gives Fang the company shares and says, here, take what you want, but let them go. But Fang, being treacherous, laughs. Why so much hurry, brother-in-law? Because of my sister, I've suffered a lot. She must die. Hearing this, Yuchan attacks him. Fang shouts, if you hurt me, you'll never find out where Jian is. So Yuchan has to stop. Fang then sets the car's fuel tank on fire so Yuji will burn inside. Yuchan tries to open the door, but all doors are locked. Just then, Chen arrives. He came to save Yuji. As he picks up a rock to break the window, the car explodes. At the last moment, Yuchan manages to save Yuji, but she gets seriously injured. He immediately rushes her to the hospital. Then Yuchan gets a call from his man. We've found Jian and admitted him to the hospital. Jin also arrives there. A nurse asks, who among you is the child's relative? Both say, I am. The nurse says, the child needs blood transfusion. We need A positive blood. Both of them have the same blood type. But the nurse adds, the child has leukemia, so we can't take blood from close relatives. It could cause infection. Yuchan says, I'm only his father by name, so you can take my blood. Hearing this, Jin realizes his mistake, that even though he loves Yuji, Yuchan is the real father of her children, and he truly cares for them. He loves them deeply. That's why he shouts, you can't give Jian your blood. But Yuchan doesn't listen to him at all. So finally, Chun blurts out the truth. You are the real father of Yuji's children. Hearing this, Yuchan freezes on the spot. Memories from the past come flooding back to him. A little later, Ning arrives. Seeing Yuchan in that broken state, she feels terrible and says, I'm sorry. Yuchan says, are you happy now? My wife and children almost died today because of all that. Ning regrets everything, realizing she made a huge mistake by helping Fang. She never knew things would go this far. So she calls the police and confesses her crime, making sure Fang also gets punished. Meanwhile, Yuchan stays beside Yuji, who still hasn't regained consciousness. He looks heartbroken, thinking how she raised their children alone for 6 years while he misunderstood her all along. Finally, Yuji opens her eyes. She asks, why are you crying? Where's Jian? Is he okay? Yuchan wipes his tears and says, he's perfectly fine. Nothing happened to our son. Hearing this, Yuji realizes that Yuchan now knows the truth, that he's the real father of her kid. She says, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you. I was scared you'd get angry. Yuchan smiles gently. It's okay. I'm just happy that you're all safe. A few days later, we see that Jian's bone marrow transplant is complete, and he's totally healthy again. Yuji's father has also recovered. As soon as he's better, he goes to meet Yuchan's mother. Standing outside her house, he apologizes. Your husband helped me so much. When my company was going into loss, I fired some workers out of frustration. They attacked me, and your husband saved me, but lost his life. By the time I woke up, it was too late. You all had left the city. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything to help your family. Inside, Yuchan's mother listens to all this and gets emotional. She says, I misunderstood Yuji's family and treated her badly. How can I even face her now? Just then, the hungry kids come out and say, Grandma, come outside. we were waiting for you. So Yuchan's mother comes out, smiling softly. She says, I've made breakfast. Call everyone inside. It means she has forgiven Yuji's father, and everyone feels relieved and happy. Now we see Yuchan taking charge of the company again. Outside, Yuji comes to meet him, because soon, Yuchan will be competing in the boxing championship. Yuji says, you shouldn't fight that boxer. He's really dangerous. Yuchan smiles and says, don't worry, don't you trust your love? Finally, the big day arrives. Yuchan steps into the ring, fights bravely, and wins the championship. Yuji gets emotional, tears shining in her eye. Right there, in front of everyone, Yuchan kneels and proposes, will you marry me? Yuji happily says yes, but their kids stay quiet. So she says, kids, this is your dad. Hearing that, both children finally smile and call him dad. Sometime later, we see Yuji shouting into a mic again, announcing that she's pregnant. Yuchan gets overjoyed, lifting her in excitement. The whole village celebrates together. And just like that, the entire drama ends with a happy ending. Thank you for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.